Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage. I really have a soft spot for things from Eastern Germany, from DDR. In my opinion, it's really a time in history where the world kind of divided. And no matter what you think of the politics about that, the fact is that the Eastern Bloc just tried something completely different than the Western side of things. Most of the cars were two-stroke. In the West, of course, it was four strokes. In my opinion, it's just so exciting to see their solution to stuff. And I can't help to think what would have happened if that was the way to go. And if those things were evolved like they were in the Western side. It of course stopped because the Eastern Bloc and the Soviet Union in the end had collapsed completely. But still, the stuff is just very, very exciting. I really like it. And at last, I got a moped from that side of the world. This is a Simson SR2, and I actually got it a while ago, but I haven't really had time to take a look at it. But today, it's time to see if I can make this run, and if I can make it work. And it could be a nice moped to go on trips, because I'm getting older, and there's suspension on the rear, suspension on the front, and a very, very soft homemade saddle on this one. It looks pretty comfortable for long rides. It's made in the Eastern Germany, and as far as I know, it's made from 58 to 59, not more than that, the SR2 version at least. It's an air-cooled two-stroke engine, 47.6 cc, and I think it's coupled together with a gearbox of 2 gears. At least I think so, but as you can see, it's a bit, yeah. I really like the sturdiness of everything, the luggage carrier thing. And then the simple yet very brilliant suspension system. There's just a spring in there, and then the entire rear wheel is pivoting and able to move up and down. And then up here we have a suspension that looks a lot like a NSU Quickly or Rex or something like that. It's the same basic principle, but actually quite a bit different. Looks cool. A tire from Yugoslavia. And then an engine that I have no knowledge about, metronome. I don't know if it's Simson themselves that made that, or if it's from another brand. I have no experience with these engines, but it's probably pretty basic stuff. But this up here doesn't look original. At first glance, I'd say it's an ignition coil from a Trabant, maybe, that is coupled together with an external condenser. I don't know if it works. I don't know if there's spark on this. We're going to test that. But I would like to figure out why this is like that, and hopefully get it back to original. It's probably, and that's just a guess of mine, it's probably because the coils are bad, and maybe they are hard to get, and then someone made this system. I'm not even sure it's going to work, but who knows. I do wonder what the original color of this was, because it seems to be bare metal under that green stuff. But the green stuff looks very homemade, so maybe it was blasted completely. Who knows? Or maybe it was just silver. But it seems to be completely... maybe it was silver. It could look that way, at least. Oh, and really nice quality welds. Doesn't need to be hidden, it just needs to be solid. That's my philosophy also. But I am going to start with a bit of optimism and see if the tires will pump up. This little air compressor from Skell is really helpful. I do have a compressor in the garage also, but when I'm on the go, when I'm out picking up new project cars and so on, it's nice to have a very light and easy to use compressor to put some air into the tires, just to make stuff a little bit easier to move. There we go. It did pump up at least. We'll see if it keeps the pressure. The rear tire is actually inflated, so that's nice. And also the rear tire looks quite a bit newer. I doubt that's from Yugoslavia at least. Let's take a look at that engine and see what we can find out. So the first thing I noticed when moving the moped in here is that there's a little bit of fuel, but it escapes from that hole, which is supposed to be the actual handle to open and close it. So I need a new valve. I think I actually have one. It looks like a pretty standard size. I'm just going to see if one of those that I have will fit in the moped drawer. Oh yeah, I have this one that I think will fit. I think it's from a Kreidler, or at least the sizes, but it's a pretty generic one. Oh yeah, it fits. Now it's just a matter of tightening it up. So there we go. Now I'm gonna fill in some fuel and see if it comes out clean. Reserve is there and this is open, so I guess this is closed. Let's hope. So let's see if the fuel that comes out of it is clean. This looks very new. So I think someone has been trying to make this run at some point, and the guy that I bought it from also tried, but he couldn't really make it run as far as I know. So I don't know when this carb has been put on or anything about that, but oh yeah, it's completely clean, the fuel that comes out of it. That is nice. There is a fuel filter on this one, so I'm not gonna bother with an external one unless it's needed. So I'm just gonna put this on and then put this down to right there. Snip. And then I made it too short. And I'm just gonna put this one on right there, and then down there, and all the way to the bottom of the inlet to the carb ball. Measure twice, cut once. There we go. Then I can open up the tap, whoop, and fill the carb with fuel. Nice. So far so good. Should I just try to start it? I know there's something wrong with the ignition system since the external big ignition coil is mounted here with an external condenser. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be inside the magneto like normal mopeds. This at least is loose. The positive connector is loose. But I wonder if it's just, maybe it just works, who knows. So it would be pretty silly to try to fix it if it's not broken. So I'm just going to try to see if it runs. Ooh. Well, that made for a pretty boring will it run video. I was not expecting that with that ignition coil, to be honest, but it's working. It's a bit noisy because of the gear chain selector. So I was not expecting such an easy startup. I know the guy I bought it from, I'm pretty sure he told me, oh, look at this. Oh. So yeah, it started, but now it's overflowing like crazy. What I think happened right now, and it probably won't start now, but I think it's overflowing because the needle valve probably is stuck in the low position. So it's just overflowing, constantly pulling in fuel. So even though it runs, I'm gonna have to take the carb off and investigate that. But what a beginning to this revival video of the Simson. This just started and it actually sounded pretty nice and beefy. But take a look at this. It's just, I think it's a Trabant. I presume it's a 6-volt coil. I don't even know. And this, I forgot to put that on tight, but still it's sparking for some reason. And yeah, I would like to fix it to the original spec at some point, but on the other hand, if this works, it's fun. So yeah, I just don't know if it's going to be very reliable. You would expect something more powerful than just a magneto and the coils to be able to deliver power to such a big coil as this is, but I don't know much about that kind of stuff. It's working at least. But I better take off that carb and figure out why this overflowing happened. Because it won't be running on that, that's for sure. It will just drown itself within no time. So let's go ahead and remove that carb and see what's going on. Firstly, add some light to the work space. This skill lamp is just brilliant for that because it can be in so many configurations, so the lighting is always spot on. Let's remove that carb. So let's just see what we have here. It looks very clean, everything. I guess this is just something that I can twist off. Either that or I need to remove this. I need to remove this, I think. So looking at it, I'm not so sure that I need to spin it off because there seems to be a tab going from the top part into this. So if I twist it, I'll just snap that off. So I wonder, I don't think this does anything to take it off, but I do maybe think that the jet inside of here could be holding stuff in. Yeah, interesting design. So my guess is that this is stuck somehow and not shutting off the fuel valve up here. This is very simple made. I like it, but it doesn't seem to work though. Yeah, it's stuck. That's the problem. That's loose. Just gonna try to refit this. I think it works now. I think the valve was just stuck in there. If that's not the case, then I would think that this is maybe not holding air. If it's punctured, it will sink and then it will never shut the valve off. So let's just test to see if it shuts off now. Because before, it will just overflow and start spilling out this, which is the primer. So let's just test it. I can do that by just putting on the fuel line, like so, and opening the fuel line, and let it fill up and see if it starts spilling out. Yeah, this seems to work fine. Let's just make it spill and stop. But now it's working. So I think it's the next thing would be to just give it a test drive and see if it actually runs. I'm just going to tighten up that little terminal on the coil itself and then see if it actually is rideable as it is. Could be fun. Maybe not that fast, but still. It's getting there. Let's try to change gear. Struggling a little bit on this hill. So the Simson is running. That was pretty easy. It's not running right though. It really doesn't have a lot of power or anything like that. But the main thing is it starts pretty easy. It idles pretty well and it runs decent. I did take the cover off to the magneto just to check if I could do anything in there. I just don't have the correct puller for this, so I'm not going to go further with this. Unfortunately, I don't have the correct puller to remove it, so I cannot check the timing, and also I would really like to figure out why this ignition system is set up like this. But that will be at a later stage. So hopefully the next video on this will be to figure out what's going on with that, and also fine-tune the engine and fix all the rest of the stuff. The brakes are decent, but they could be better. But what a awesome little machine! I really like it, and the color and the scars and all that is just perfect. It's just perfect. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.